Hey, Crime Salad listeners, welcome back to another episode of Crime Salad, where we talk about true crime. My name is Ashley.
And I'm Ricky.
And if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we hope you enjoy this week's episode. So being a young student who goes missing really makes you realize the vulnerability of young people. It's a worry all of us parents have. We never want anything to happen to our children. Well, sadly, that nightmare became reality for the Graham family in September of 2014. One of the most bittersweet things for a parent is watching them grow up, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, our oldest is in high school. Like, we don't have a lot of years left.
Yeah, like college is, if he goes to college, is just right there, like a couple years away. It's a bittersweet feeling for sure. Time goes way too fast. And never in a million years would a parent ever believe something as heartbreaking would happen to their child while they were living out their college years. This is a time when a young adult learns to live more on their own, they gain more independence, all while they're focusing on their college life and their studies. And Hannah Graham, a bright and vibrant young woman at the age of 18, attended the University of Virginia, or UVA as it's commonly known, which is located in Charlottesville, a big college town, surrounded by so much love and support. Then she disappeared under suspicious circumstances. It caused a flood on social media from her friends, family, and supporters to help find her. The strength of the community and witnesses who came forward with the desire to solve her case led to the discovery of another young college girl who went missing a few years earlier and was found murdered by her case. But her case was unsolved until now. So both of their deaths were caused by the same guy. So put your comfy socks on, grab your drink of choice, and turn up the volume, and let's dive into this week's case. With this story, we hope that you understand the importance of being aware of your surroundings, like many of the witnesses did in this story, and the need to better protect younger adults and to educate them on the dangers that live in the world with us. As we always tell our 15-year-old son, do not ever be alone in public. Always go with a friend if you're going to the restroom, or be around multiple friends. Hannah Graham, an 18-year-old University of Virginia sophomore, was studying to major in global public health. Her academic interest reflected a passion for helping others and making a positive impact on global health issues. She wanted to help people. She wanted to change the world. Friends described her as smart, talented, and a go-getter. She was born in the UK, and her parents and her moved to Virginia when she was just 5 years old. On September 13th, 2014, she went out with a few friends to a party. The last place her friends saw her was at Camden Plaza, which is a courtyard near the University of Virginia campus. The last they heard from Hannah was through a text message that she sent to a friend around 1:20 a.m., explaining that she was lost. The text read, "I'm trying to get to a party, I believe, and I am lost." It's believed that she was attempting to attend a party at a friend's apartment in the downtown mall area of Charlottesville, but she never made it to her intended destination. And her friends and family were left with an unusual feeling once it was daylight on September 14th, 2014. She just seemed to vanish, with her last text message saying she was lost. Fear and worry rushed over her friends and family. From this point, she wasn't answering any calls or text messages and never came home. The following day, on the 15th, she still hadn't been in contact with anyone, so the Charlottesville Police Department launched an investigation and search operation. This included reviewing the surveillance footage from that night, which became a key tool in the investigation. Without it, this case may never have been solved. And it also brought another case to the surface that the perpetrator was involved in that was, at the time, unsolved. Once they reviewed the footage, they found Hannah walking out of an Irish pub and noticeably alone. This area was popular to go to, not necessarily the place to go for college kids, but it was still a popular area. None of her friends were with her that night. It would have been about a 20-minute walk from campus if she walked. The timestamp on the surveillance footage read 12:45 a.m., and they continued to follow her movements based on what they could find from the surveillance footage, which again was a very crucial tool to get the evidence that they needed on that night. She was spotted running at approximately 1:08 a.m., and as they looked closer into the footage, they noticed a guy who was seen keeping a distance but following her. This guy is a large, heavyset man with dreadlocks, standing at least 6 feet in height. He was seen wearing light-colored shorts and a dark-colored top. The chilling footage showed him following Hannah in downtown Charlottesville and later interacting with her at the Tempo restaurant. His distinctive appearance and clothing helped authorities identify and locate him as a person of interest in this case. Seeing the footage raised an immediate concern that she may be in danger.
Honestly, how frightening for a young college student.
Yeah, I mean, she's alone. She's lost. She texted her friends she's lost. She doesn't know where she is. She's trying to find this party. It most definitely would be. And seeing her running across the captured video along the sidewalk tells you that there's something happening. Like, she just doesn't feel comfortable. This prompted the police to find her quickly. Every second counts in a case like this, and the need to find this man who sparked investigators' interest early in this case was so very important. And so, getting the public involved was a step the police had to take. So flyers, they used social media campaigns that spread rapidly. Getting her face out there in case anyone has seen her, holding on to hope that she was okay. Although the man in the video gives awfully creepy indications that maybe he had bad intentions. But nothing is ever known for sure until they get a chance to speak with him. While the public was notified, the police were still working their magic and needed to identify the man who was following her. Could he have some information that could help them find Hannah? Soon as witnesses came forward, and with a combination of police efforts, putting the pieces together to confirm, he was identified as Jesse Matthew Jr. And it was also brought to the police's attention that this guy drove a very distinctive orange car. A critical witness came forward, reporting that they saw Hannah and Jesse Matthew near Tempo restaurant interacting. A witness states that they saw the two people standing next to an orange car. The door was open, and the witness recalls hearing her say, "I'm not getting in that car. It is stolen." And the tone in her voice gave the witness a feeling that she was scared and didn't want to be there.
It's crazy that people notice these types of things and they end up being some type of witness testimony. It's one of those someone saw something type things, you know?
Yeah. Like, how many times have you gone out and you're just kind of observing?
Right.
Like, you never would think that what you're observing could be a witness testimony. And that also had to be very unsettling to see this girl scared and then finding out later that she's now missing.
Yeah. Okay, so they've identified this guy now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did they find out about him?
Well, as they looked into this guy and his background, it became alarming when his record showed previous encounters with law enforcement and, get this, sexual assault allegations, which raised suspicions about his involvement in Hannah's disappearance.
Wow.
Yeah, which we'll discuss more about that soon. Now, the public media attention really put pressure on this guy, so much so that he voluntarily came down to the police station. The police made a public appeal directly to Jesse Matthew Jr., urging him to come forward and to speak with them, being careful not to point any fingers at the person of interest, but letting the people in the community know they believe that he could help find Hannah or may have some kind of information.
It's interesting because they put all of that pressure on him. I feel like it was such a fine line because if you put too much pressure on him, he could have just taken off, right? Yeah. But he actually turned himself in. Or not turned himself in, but at least
made an appearance.
Correct, yeah.
I mean, it's a tough one because I'm sure everyone wants to incriminate him right off the bat. Like, he did something, we all know it. Where is she? Tell us where she is.
Right.
But at this point in the investigation, it is so very touchy and sensitive. And this was a tactic that investigators knew would cause a lot of people who knew him personally to reach out to him, saying, hey, they're looking for you. You should probably go check in with the police department. And as I mentioned, he voluntarily came forward basically in an attempt to get the police off his back and possibly his friends and his family too, who were most likely urging him to go. He showed up with family members who were there to support his innocence. And once he made his appearance, he immediately requested a lawyer. He did not make any statements to the police. And his behavior and decision to leave without cooperating, it only intensified their suspicions. Even though they didn't have the chance to sit down with him to talk about what he knows, they felt really weird about it. Like, okay, something's up.
Yeah. Not to mention they approached it so structurally, right? Like, he shows up, he asks for a lawyer, showed up with family. He obviously has support, he has guidance.
Yeah. Now, following his visit, and most likely being aware that the police were actually on him, Jesse Matthew Jr. fled the area.
Oh, geez. Well, there you go.
Yep. He was last seen on September 20th, 2014. And once he made the move, a nationwide manhunt ensued. Investigators saw this as indicative of guilt. So while the manhunt was still on, the police kept gathering what they could on this guy, like putting more of the puzzle pieces together to build a case against him, reviewing the distinctive orange Chrysler coupe that was spotted in the surveillance footage, and other factors like his background. And as I mentioned, he had a few run-ins with the law, and to put the icing on the cake, he was suspected of these sexual allegations, never was charged. So let me tell you about those. Jesse Matthew Jr. had been accused of sexual assault at 2 different universities in the past while attending the colleges and playing on the football team. At Liberty University, Jesse Matthew Jr. got a full football scholarship and was accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl during a debate camp in the summer of 2000. Sadly, the police never took her claim seriously. The victim, only identified as Jane Doe 12, said that as she was returning to her dorm room, Jesse Matthew grabbed her and carried her into the bathroom. She was able to escape, but it was reported that Matthew caught her again and groped her before attempting to strangle her. The victim then bit Matthew's hand and arm, so he finally let her go. And then when I found this out, it made me cringe. The victim explained that one of the officers asked Matthew for an autograph, remarking that it would be worth a lot of money someday.
Because of his performance on the field.
That's what I was thinking.
Wow. Okay. So honestly, this is probably let's just, kick it under the rug, whatever. Let's not risk the reputation of our school.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking too. Like, he's really good at football. He got this full-blown scholarship, Like, why,
He probably didn't do it. That's what
he probably didn't do it.
That's what they're saying.
He's got a full ride and he's here, and she's probably just making that up. Why would anyone make that up?
Right.
I don't understand. And the 15-year-old girl, like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. That would be horrible, but it is possible. Now, following this accusation, he left the college. He just left Liberty University. Full ride scholarship, gone.
Okay. So this he's probably feeling bulletproof at this point. He's just going to jump on the train and go to the next thing.
And that's basically what he did. He went to a different college, Christopher Newport University, where, again, he was accused of sexual assault in 2003, and he left a month after.
Okay. A bit of a pattern. How in the world did he not get anything for that?
Like, what protection really is there for young adults? Like, if it were your child, how angry would you be at the fact that he just got away with that? You know?
Yeah.
Like, these incidents occurred in 2000 and then in 2003, and both of them led to him leaving the institutions. No questions asked, no charges made, just, well, that's too bad that happened to you. And, well, the result of that was he ended up murdering 2 students after these incidents. Infuriating, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. What gets me is every time he changed universities, did he play football again?
I believe so.
Right.
I think he did, yeah.
There's just so many things, and it's documented, and they ignored it all. And it led up to this.
And too, just like a little off topic, but there's even situations, not rape related, but say like there's a really good football player, and they get into like drugs or something like that. Like, it's often swept under the rug because they like need that guy to play.
Yeah.
It just seems like,
yeah.
Are you crazy? Like, if that was my daughter, I would be furious, like absolutely off the hinges.
It's a weird thing with sports and politics and everything.
Yeah, it's weird and really upsetting, actually, because like, what protection is there really for like a young girl who's attending college?
Right.
There's really not much.
No. And I think that's why it's important to stay in groups and not be alone and find protection in that way.
Anyways, although he was not convicted in these 2 cases, nothing stopped him from doing this to someone else, and probably even on different occasions than what the public was made aware of. And more cases are currently being looked into, actually. And as we mentioned, his record included previous interactions with law enforcement. These were minor offenses like driving violations, but it was something that the police noted. Soon, authorities had enough on this guy to obtain a search warrant for Jesse Matthews' residence and his vehicle. But they had one problem. As he typically just ran away from his problems like he did with the other 2 young women back in 2000 and 2003, he left. So a manhunt was on along with the search warrant. So inside his orange car, they found fibers that matched the clothes Hannah was wearing on that night. And of course, what was the most telling was a DNA match of Hannah's hair and her blood, confirming their suspicions. Computers, cell phones, and other electronic devices were seized to search for digital evidence, including communications, search history, and location data. These records helped establish a timeline of their movements and their interactions on that night of the disappearance. The data showed Jesse Matthew Jr.'s phone activity and location, placing him in the same area as Hannah during the critical time frame. Various materials that could contain DNA, such as bedding, personal items, and other materials, were collected to find any trace of evidence that they could to link him to the crime. Now, there was no public record or any evidence indicating that Hannah Graham was ever inside of Jesse Matthews' residence. The critical DNA evidence linking her to Matthew was found in his car, not his home. So that was the primary focus. So before Hannah's case, which happened in 2014, there was the disappearance and murder of Morgan Harrington that happened in 2009, but it remained a mystery until Hannah's case brought it to light. Morgan was another young adult who was attending college, similar to Hannah, who went missing from Charlottesville. Specifically, they found his DNA on the black Pantera shirt that she was wearing on the night that she went missing. This connection was what they needed to solve Morgan's case, because, like I said, until 2014, her case was unsolved.
Jeez.
And I know I said it already, but it is just so frustrating that this even happened, especially a second time. but it's definitely a relief that they now have him where he belongs.
Yeah, finally.
Morgan disappeared on October 17th, 2009. She was last seen wearing a black Pantera t-shirt, black miniskirt, black tights, and black boots, and was attending a Metallica concert at the John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, Virginia, along with her friends. Now, around 8:48 p.m., Morgan left her friends to go use the restroom. She called them later, saying that she was outside the arena and she couldn't get back in due to the venue's policy. She assured her friends that she would be fine and she would find a ride home. It was around 9:30 p.m. when witnesses saw someone matching Morgan's description walking on a nearby bridge. And this was the last known sighting. After the concert, her friend, who still had her keys, had driven her car home, not at all aware of what really happened to Morgan. Morgan was reported missing the next day when she didn't show up at her parents' home. Community searches organized with police and the Laura Recovery Center involving community volunteers, and her purse, along with her ID and cell phone, was found the next day in an overflow parking lot near the arena. What added to the suspicion was that the battery of her phone had been taken out of the phone and the phone was broken.
Okay. Big red flag.
Yeah. Why would she do that to her own phone?
Yeah.
So there was a reward of $150,000 for any information, which included a $50,000 donation from Metallica. There was also public support, joined by Ed Smart, whose daughter Elizabeth was abducted in 2002 and found 9 months later. Morgan Harrington's parents remained hopeful and actively worked with law enforcement and community organizations to find their daughter. So at some point that night, she was without a cell phone, alone, and it was reported that when she went to the desk to try to re-enter the venue, she had a bloody nose, but details on this were only made by a witness, and she had nowhere to go. The last confirmed sighting of Morgan was on a nearby bridge around 9:30 p.m., where she was reportedly hitchhiking for a ride. There is a theory that a taxi pulled up and offered her a ride, and maybe she felt safe enough to get in. What is interesting about that is that Jesse Matthew, he was a taxi driver in that area, and he just so happened to be working on that night when Morgan Harrington vanished.
Jeez. Okay, so that lines up.
Mm-hmm. However, the investigation faced several challenges due to the lack of immediate leads. And then on January 26, 2010, Morgan's remains were found on a remote farm about 10 miles from the concert venue. The discovery was made by a farmer who noticed what looked like a human skull in his 700-acre hayfield, and he was just riding through it, noticed it, and called the police.
Wow.
And it appeared that her remains had been there for a significant period of time.
Okay, so Morgan was last seen in October at the concert. Mm-hmm. And then they didn't find her body until January. Yeah. And it was heavily decomposed, right? They found the skull.
Yes.
Now, did it decompose? That seems quick. I'm not sure how that all works, but did it decompose quicker because of the winter months or?
Possibly. I mean, it could have been weather from animals.
That type of stuff.
Now, these remains were processed by a medical examiner, and they determined that Morgan Harrington's death was a homicide. However, the exact cause of death was not determined. But there were indications of violent trauma. The medical examiner's notes read, she had a spiral fracture of her upper left arm and 2 green stick rib fractures. So a spiral fracture, it's a rare injury that occurs when a bone is twisted under great force, causing it to crack, and it wraps around in a spiral. A green stick rib fracture is a type of broken bone that occurs when a bone bends and cracks on one side but doesn't break into multiple pieces. Even her skull had an incised fracture on it that was inflicted at or near the time of death, which would most likely be a stab with some kind of sharp object to her head.
Yikes.
The Harrington family, who lost Morgan in 2009, established the Help Save the Next Girl organization, dedicated to promoting safety and preventing future tragedies by raising awareness and providing resources for young women. The community continued to honor Morgan's memory through various initiatives and events aimed at improving safety and support for students.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, this case highlighted the need for better coordination between law enforcement agencies and improved forensic technologies. Universities and event venues reviewed and updated their safety policies to protect attendees and prevent similar incidents.
It sucks that something like this has to happen, though, for them to make changes. And we see that all over the place with the crimes that we cover. You know, a horrible case happens, and now there's a new law. It's I mean, it's good that we're making these changes, but man, what does it take?
Yeah. And like, really, why couldn't she just re-enter into the venue if she showed her ticket? Like,
yeah.
Like, what's the big deal?
Not to mention she had a bloody nose, and I don't know what it was from or what they thought it was from, but I asked some questions like, did she need help?
Like, are you okay? Like, was something wrong?
Right.
Like, they just kind of were like, yeah, I noticed that she had a bloody nose.
Yeah, well, you can't come in because, I don't know.
It's just stupid. Now, this evidence they have against this guy is absolutely overwhelming, and it supports the case against Jesse Matthew Jr.
Game over, buddy.
Game over. So yeah, he knew the police were onto him at this time. And when he fled, that caused a nationwide manhunt involving local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. The police and the media released information about Matthew, including descriptions and details about his vehicle, the distinctive orange Chrysler Coupe. This helped in alerting the public, and they gathered more tips. Jesse Matthew Jr. was finally located in Galveston, Texas. A woman who recognized him and his vehicle from the news reports contacted the authorities.
I mean, he is driving an orange car around with police looking for him, though. It's got to stick out, right?
I just think of like some guy wearing like an orange vest, like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, maybe you should get a different car.
Yeah, get a camo car or something.
Camo car. If any place has that, though, it'd be Texas.
What, the camo car?
A camo car. Texas would be the place that would have a
dummy.
camo car.
He's so stupid. You think that you wouldn't get caught.
Wait, what?
Jesse.
Yeah, but I'm saying if any place had that, Texas would.
Why Texas?
Texas. Come on.
So Jesse Matthew was arrested near Galveston, Texas, where he was camping out on Gilchrist Beach in an effort to avoid detection. Now, he wasn't just relaxing, on the beach.
He wasn't building a sandcastle?
No, he wasn't being a beach bum. He was actually hiding, trying to stay off the radar of law enforcement. And maybe he thought, what are the chances of anyone finding me here? But let's give a shout out to the person who was aware of their surroundings and recognized him from the news reports and made that arrest happen because...
And again, I mean, this is the importance of case awareness,
Exactly.
The media, the coverage. He would never have been recognized if it wasn't for, blasting his face out there, telling the story and having it in the public's memory.
Yeah, it's awesome to learn how the public plays such a key role in these kinds of cases too. Like, it's a relief that someone noticed something and they spoke up and they listened to their instincts.
Yeah. We should call this case the beach bum bounty hunter. They earned it.
They definitely did. That's a good one. And so authorities approached him cautiously, ensuring that there was no confrontation or attempt to flee. And he was taken into custody and later extradited back to Virginia to face charges. Woohoo! We got him.
Got him.
Now, they theorized, being that he ended up being found in Texas, that he maybe had plans to go across the border into Mexico, but that's not actually confirmed at all. But what is known is that he traveled approximately 1,200 miles from Charlottesville, Virginia to Gilchrist Beach, all in an attempt to evade capture and hopefully continue his evil actions.
Should have went to Mexico.
So it really goes to show that although a crime happens in one place, the suspect can be anywhere easily. His fleeing journey of about 18 to 20 hours most likely took him to a few states, including North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Louisiana before reaching Texas. So finally, they got him. He was apprehended on September 24th, 2014, and Jesse Matthew Jr. was held in custody in Texas. Law enforcement officials from Virginia coordinated with Texas authorities to get him back into Virginia quickly, and he was held in Virginia without bond pending further legal action. So in other words, he wasn't able to be bailed out.
Good. Heck 'em.
Jesse had his first court hearing once he got back to the state of Virginia. This is where the charges were officially read to him and where he was read his legal rights. He was given a lawyer to help defend him in court, and there were several initial court sessions that happened to go over the evidence and make sure that there was enough to keep moving forward with the charges. Now, as we mentioned, Morgan Harrington's murder was also linked to him as well. The forensic evidence showed that his DNA was on her shirt, which led to additional charges being filed against him. So it was like he did it once, he got away with it, he did it again, and probably would have kept going if he was caught.
Third time was not a charm.
No. As the trial dates got closer, a possible plea deal was discussed between both sides. The evidence against Jesse was strong, which pushed these talks forward. On March 2nd, 2016, Jesse took an Alford plea. This means that he didn't admit that he did it, but he did acknowledge that there was enough evidence to convict him. As part of the plea deal, Jesse was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison without the chance of parole. During the sentencing, the families of Hannah Graham and Morgan Harrington spoke about how the tragic murder of their loved ones caused a deep emotional and psychological toll on the families. Hannah Graham's case, Morgan Harrington's, and other similar cases play a significant role in highlighting the vulnerabilities and safety concerns for students on college campuses and really young people in general. While it may not be accurate to say that her case alone led to all these changes, it certainly acted as a catalyst for many of the improvements in safety measures at universities and enhanced law enforcement practices.
It's good to hear.
The public outcry and pressure from students, parents, and advocacy groups pushed universities to take immediate action to improve safety on and around campuses. Jesse Matthew Jr. faced multiple charges related to various crimes, including sexual assault and murder. Now, there was another attack that was separate from these 2 murders that he was charged with. So in the Fairfax courtroom on June 8th, 2015, Jesse Matthew's mother, father, and girlfriend sat in the front row. Dan and Gil Harrington, the parents of Morgan Harrington, were also present in the courtroom. He was charged with attempted capital murder relating to a 2005 sexual assault. And also, he was charged with abduction with intent to defile, meaning that he was charged with the abduction of a woman with the intent to sexually assault her. And he was also charged with sexual assault, although he pleaded not guilty to the charges. The woman, who was a 26-year-old at the time and a college graduate, gave her testimony. She recounted a horrifying attack and shared the chilling words of her assailant, threatening to kill her if she made another sound. And he responded with the words, "This woman, whose name was not mentioned publicly, had to relive her experience in court, but finally got justice for what happened to her on that Saturday while she went to a bookstore near her apartment. And this guy forcefully pulled her into the nearby woods, subjecting her to a brutal assault that included punches to the face and strangulation." She described the intense struggle with her attacker and the moments of fading consciousness. And in this case, there was a witness who came forward stating that when they arrived at the apartment complex, they noticed a woman who was naked from the waist down, covered in mud and blood. Now, Jessie was eventually linked to this case through DNA collected from under her fingernails that was taken after the attack. In 2016, Jesse Matthew Jr. pleaded guilty to the murders of Hannah Graham and Morgan Harrington. He received, as part of a plea agreement, 4 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, avoiding the death penalty. And then for the 2005 Fairfax case, he was previously convicted and sentenced to 3 life sentences for the attempted murder, abduction, and sexual assault charges. And as far as the 2 alleged sexual assault cases, they have never been linked to him specifically. Like, they don't have enough evidence. Those are the ones that we mentioned earlier happening at Liberty University, where the police didn't take her case seriously, and at Christopher Newport University. Now, there's other victims out there that the police are looking into, or college students who have disappeared, that they're trying to see if maybe he was the cause of their disappearance, or maybe he has more victims out there that we don't know of. So those things are being looked into. But yeah, it's a case that, you know, I really wanted to cover, and I think we might have covered this a couple years ago, but we kind of wanted to do it again because I feel so passionate about these types of cases. Like, there's just so much more that still needs to be done, I feel. Like, we're doing a lot, but I feel like this case should be talked about a lot in similar cases like this.
I agree.
And before we take off here, we want to thank our listeners. Thank you so much for listening to Crime Salad and supporting us. We love you so much.
We do.
And you can always become a patron if you want to listen to ad-free episodes of ours, or listen to like our older episodes from back in the day when we first started.
Right. Plus, we have behind the scenes stuff now, so we're going to be doing that a lot more.
Yeah. Ricky just came back from a trip to Oklahoma, so he's back home.
Also, one more thing. It is the 3rd and 4th quarter. I know it's business terms, but usually we're going to see a lot more ads. So you might see 3 ads, maybe 4 ads. We try not to go over that, probably until the end of the year. So try to understand that the 1st quarter and 2nd quarter, we don't get as many ads. So there's going to be a little bit more. I mean, you can definitely join Patreon, Apple. I think, you know, it's $1 on Patreon for ad-free. It's $1.99 on Apple. If you don't want to hear the ads.
But if you don't mind the ads, they support us tremendously. So thank you. They support our show. Also,
we try not to do anything with, you know, a brand that we don't actually like. Not to mention, we try to be a little funny too in the ads, kind of making them fun. But I mean, come on, listen to a little ad. It supports us. You know, it helps us bring awareness to cases. And
I remember listening to commercials whenever I was a kid, and like that was like homework time.
Yeah,
like we'd be watching a show as a family, and the commercial would come on, and that was like, drink. All right, work on the homework for 2 minutes.
Ashley, get me a bear.
But yeah, we definitely appreciate you all so much. Thanks for putting up with us. I know we're a lot.
Also, if you like us, just leave us a little review.
If you hate us,
just don't
bother. We don't care about your smack. Go give it to the next podcast.
I mean, we're 5 years in, and these stupid reviews, they hurt our feelings.
They don't hurt me anymore.
They still,
baby.
They don't hurt my feelings.
Ricky cries every
They hurt my feelings. I'm not going to lie. They hurt my feelings.
They don't hurt me because, like, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever bounces off to me, it sticks to you, baby.
Yeah, it sticks to me.
I wasn't talking about you, but I mean, yeah, I guess you probably feel that way sometimes.
Sometimes.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up, huh? Until next time.
Till next time.